Hello and welcome to Enfresp. In this video, we are looking at introductions. There are two ways to introduce yourself in French. The first way is to say, I am called, and the second is to simply say, I am. In this video, we're going to look at the first way, and we'll look at how to say, I am in another video. The verb to call in French is
appeler,
pay attention to the number of L's in appeler. One L after an E makes the E say and we know that ER is pronounced A, so this word is appeler. Let's hear it again.
appeler,
This is quite a formal method of introduction, but we need to use formal language with strangers, so this verb is used a lot. Before we learn the conjugation of appeler, we should note that this is a reflexive verb, which just means that we do the action to ourselves. To say, I am called, we need to literally say in French, I call myself. And for others, we say, you call yourself, he calls himself, etc. So, without further ado, let's go through the conjugation for the reflexive verb appeler. Let's look at I am called first. The French phrase for I am called literally translates to I myself call. So we translate I, which is je. We then add the word for myself, which is me. And when we conjugate an ER ending verb with I, we remove the ER to find the root word and we add an E. Now, because me ends in a vowel and the next word, appel, starts with a vowel, the words become connected with an apostrophe, making
je m'appelle,
You may have noticed that L has become a double L. Now, this is because the E needs to make a different sound. So an E before one L makes an sound,
appeler,
but an E before two L's makes an sound.
appelle,
So, I call myself Brie is,
je m'appelle Bré,
let's hear it again.
je m'appelle Bré,
To say you are called, to a single person you can speak informally to, we need to literally say in French, you yourself call. So we translate informal single you, which is tu. We add the word for yourself, which is te, and then we conjugate appeler with the to pronoun by finding the root word and adding es. Again, te ends in a vowel and appel begins with a vowel, so the words are joined with an apostrophe, making
tu t'appelles,
Remember, we don't pronounce the S and we have a double L again, so the E in the middle is making an sound. Let's hear it again.
tu t'appelles,
To say he is called and she is called, we literally say he himself calls and she herself calls. First, we translate he or she, which is il or elle. The word for himself and herself is the same, se. To conjugate he and she with appeler, we find the root word and we add an e. Again, se ends in a vowel and appel begins with a vowel, so they are joined with an apostrophe, making
il s'appelle,
and.
elle s'appelle,
Note the double L again, making the sound. Let's hear these phrases again.
il s'appelle, elle s'appelle,
Okay, let's pause there and go through the conjugation for appeler so far. I am called Brie is,
je m'appelle Bré,
you are called Celeste is,
Tu t'appelles Céleste.
He is called Alan is,
Il s'appelle Alain.
and she is called Renee is.
Elle s'appelle Renée.
To say we are called, we literally say we ourselves call. First, we translate we, which is nous. We then need to translate ourselves, which is also nous. To conjugate appeler with nous, we find the root word and add ons. So, we are called is.
Nous nous appelons.
Let's look at the pronunciation of this phrase. An S at the end of a French word is silent except when it's followed by a vowel or a H. This means that the S on the end of the first nous is silent, but the second one is heard. There is also only one L in appelons, so the E is making an sound.
Nous nous appelons.
So the phrase we are called Brie and Alan sounds like this.
Nous nous appelons Bré et Alain.
A means and you can hear the pronunciation, A. Let's hear this phrase one more time.
Nous nous appelons Bré et Alain.
To say you are called, either formally or when the you refers to more than one person, we literally say you yourself or you yourselves call. We translate you, formal or plural, which is vous. Translate the word for yourself, formal or yourselves, which is also vous. And then we conjugate the verb appeler with vous. So we find the root word and we add ez.
Vous vous appelez.
Let's look at the pronunciation of this phrase. So the first S is silent, but the second will be heard because it's followed by a vowel. There is one L in appeler, so the E before the L makes an sound, and EZ makes an A sound.
Vous vous appelez.
So you are called Mrs. Garnier sounds like this.
Vous vous appelez Madame Garnier.
And you are called Celeste and Alan sounds like this.
Vous vous appelez Céleste et Alain.
To say they are called, we literally translate they themselves call. First, we translate they, which is il for a male or a mixed gender group, and elle for a female-only group. We then translate themselves, which is se, the same word for himself and herself. And we then conjugate appeler with il and elle by finding the root word and adding ent. The word se ends in a vowel and appel begins with a vowel, so the two words are joined with an apostrophe, making
Il s'appelle. Elle s'appelle.
Note that there is a double L, so the E in the middle of appel is making an E sound, and ENT at the end of s'appelle is silent. Let's hear an example of they are called, referring to a mixed gender group.
Ils s'appellent René et Alain.
And let's hear an example of they are called, referring to a female group.
Elle s'appelle Bré et Céleste.
Let's review these last four phrases we have learned. We are called Brie and Alan is.
Nous nous appelons Bré et Alain.
You are called Mrs. Garnier is.
Vous vous appelez Madame Garnier.
They are called Renee and Alan is.
Ils s'appellent René et Alain.
And they are called Brie and Celeste is.
Elle s'appelle Bré et Céleste.
Let's go through the conjugation of the reflexive verb appeler, to call oneself, once more with the examples.
Je m'appelle Bré. Tu t'appelles Céleste.
Il s'appelle Alain.
Elle s'appelle Renée.
Nous nous appelons Bré et Alain.
Vous vous appelez Madame Garnier.
Ils s'appellent Renée et Alain.
Elle s'appelle Bré et Céleste.